a lot of people have asked me directly if they wanted to invest in property, how did they get started and so forth. And reflecting on that a bit, because the question keeps on getting asked, and a few friends have come to me and said, they're interested in, they looked at a development that I might have spoken about, or a development that we're doing, and do I recommend investing in it? Or they might have sent me a link for some other development or in property investment that they come across. A lot of the times it's a bit of a scam that looks too good to be true, and I advise them, hey, stay away from that and look out for that and whatnot. So a lot of people ask me about this, and I've thought about it a lot, and where and how to get involved in property. And it is difficult, because the most important thing is you first have to know who you're dealing with. You've got to trust the developer or the person selling you that idea or product or house or whatever it is. And there's a few large developers in our country that are reputable developers that really have, and I know them personally, the guys, the CEOs or the founders of those companies, they're hell of a successful guys. And I would personally buy an apartment in their developments. And I think that is the key. It's almost, are they holding apartments in their own developments? Are they holding houses in their own developments? Is it a product that they would buy themselves? And there are guys out there that offer those things. I mean, I can name two companies that I know very well. The one is Renico Construction. They're run by a gentleman called Nico Lowe, who's a phenomenal developer. And the other one, and I think they're arguably the largest residential developers in the country, is it's two companies in one group. It's Cosmopolitan Projects and Central Developments, and a gentleman called Anton Krause. Now, the interesting thing is those guys have a loyal following of investors that have, when I say investors, it's people that have just bought apartments in their new schemes. And after a while, they build a relationship with the developer. The developer will get to know them and say, well, and the salespeople will go and say, Mr. So-and-so bought 2 units in our previous development, he's buying 2 in this development, or he's buying another one in this, and they follow them for years. And if you look at the people if you follow the right developer, and you follow his developments, when I say follow, you are buying, investing here and there, if you can, in their developments off plan, you make a lot of money. People have made a lot of money because the guys are selling something that's good value for money. And if you're buying at the right price, if you're buying something with good value for money, you are bound to make money in the long term. And that's what we've been seeing in our business as well. When we do these developments, when my friends ask me, and I'm very cautious to deal with friends, do business with friends, because I've seen how it can go horribly wrong, because there's misunderstandings and there's expectations from either party that might not be communicated properly, and it goes wrong. But what's nice about property is, you make your own decision. It's not, you look at the development, you look at the product, and if you like it, and if you're able to, trust the developer, and he does what he says, and you make an informed decision, at the end of the day, it's your decision. If something goes wrong, it's your problem. It's because of a decision you made. If the developer's trustworthy, he's done a good job. So what we've done is, a few of the people, or a few friends have asked me, and they've brought other projects to us and say, hey, should I invest in this? I've got a bit of money lying around, or I've got money for a deposit or whatnot. And then I look at it as a favor, and I say to them, guys, this looks too good to be true, or this looks a bit dodgy, or these guys are charging too much, or this is unrealistic. And then they look at our developments, they go, but what about, for instance, Plate Village, the development that we're doing now. And I said to them, if I was you, I would invest in that. And being myself as a developer, I have actually bought units in my personal capacity. My wife has bought a unit. I've bought a unit in that development, not because we're selling it too cheaply. I think we're selling it at a very good value for money price offering, and I think, hey, that's a good investment long term. And then I buy in my personal capacity, and most of the people in our team, in our professional team, that work on the development, they said, wow, this is a good development, and they've bought units. So I think that, and then I say to my friends, I say to them, or to the people that ask me, look at this, I think it's a great investment. And I can explain to them and I say, listen, this is what I think it should be worth, and this is what I think in a few years' time, and that's it. And the people have bought, and I think they're going to do very well. I wouldn't have done it myself if I was going to think I was going to lose money. So people follow us, and we're thinking of maybe focusing on that quite a bit, because one thing about our industry is it's expensive to develop. It takes a lot of money. To do a big development of 100 or 200 or 300 or 1,000 units, it's a hell of a lot of money. It's a few $100 million. And there aren't too many developers in the country left that can develop at large scale. When I sat with Anton Krause the other day at lunch, and he told me a story back when he started back in the day in the property sector. There was a conference at Sun City, and you'd have to be very quick to get yourself a table in the Super Bowl, at the conference, for this property conference. And today, there's maybe 10 developers in the country that can develop at scale. There's not a lot. There's a lot of guys here and there that try their hand at property development. But when you talk about large developers within the residential, the retail, the industrial, whatever it is, it's a very small amount of guys, because it's become such a difficult business to operate in. So long time frames, so capital intensive, hard to get finance from the banks, very difficult to deal with the local municipalities and with government. So it's become such a difficult business that there's very few players left. And I'm proud to say that we are one of those players. And we're fairly young. We've got a young team of people. We're an old company. We've been around for 39 years, thanks to my parents who started the business in 1986. And it's I like it, but it is bloody hard. But what that shows you is there's a very few guys that can operate in this environment. So I think you can back one of the developers, and you can back them in their developments, and they always need money. They always, they need to sell units. The banks won't give us money unless we've got pre-sales, if it's a development that we're selling units instead of just renting the units. And if you follow them, the developers will show you loyalty. If you buying in each of their developments, or you're buying multiple developments, buying multiple units, they'll do a deal with you. They'll give you a bit of a discount. Or they'll build up we're thinking of doing like an investor list or investor base, that we offer the developments to our investors first before we offer it to the general market. So you can get the first pick of the best unit. In a development you'll always have 1 unit or 2 units or 10 that are in the best location relative to the other ones. Us as developers, we go and price. If there's 100 apartments, we price the whole thing, and we say, okay, 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms will be 2 million rand, or whatever it might be. And we don't go and price each and every one. So you can go and really, if you're the first there, nobody else has bought it, you can pick the best unit with the best view, or the best location, or the best privacy, and then you could pay the same as the guy that would buy last. And that you're actually getting better value from location and from buying the best unit. And then you might be able to get a discount as well if you're the first guy to buy, or if you buy more than one. Things like that. So I think that's a good strategy, and follow a good developer, and over time, buy an apartment, follow that developer, buy an apartment, or if you can, in his developments, and move like that. And you wake up 10 or 20 years later with an incredible property portfolio that's appreciated heavily, and that's bringing you in a solid rental income. And what more could you ask for?